Buongiorno, buonasera, depending on your time. This is our last full day in Milano, in Italy, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the mechanics of the whistle itself. Now, this is a carbony. It's a 7-hole penny whistle, which gives you the ability to go. Most penny whistles are only 6. It still has no back hole, but this one has. It just gives you ability to put in that one extra note. It's just a fun little thing. Part 2. The other thing that a lot of penny whistles will have is an adjustable mouthpiece. Now notice as I pull it, it can even come apart. And there's part 3. We'll have a little bit more about that. But that also enables you to tune. And the more you pull it out, notice how the distance from the ring is getting a little bit more. And a little more. And here's going, the longer it is, the little bit lower that it goes. And that's so you can tune your instrument to somebody else's if it's just a little bit off, because no two whistles are ever going to be exactly the same. And especially if you're playing with any type of a brass instrument or guitar, possibly, it might be easier for you just to tune down or up a little bit rather than making them tune all 6 strings, etc. Now, for the larger whistles, you'll find that your fingers are going to have to spread a bit. And sometimes my fingers can't reach, and especially on my bass D or a B flat, I'll have to incorporate, rather than these 6 fingers, I'll have to incorporate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 1, and go to my little finger to reach the bottom notes. And that's perfectly fine. All it takes to get your body to adjust to having either both little fingers incorporated or just one is scales. You do that for a little bit, and just up and down for about 10 minutes, and your hands will all of a sudden start sending signals to the little finger rather than the ring finger, and you'll accommodate. Now, for other types of things for mechanics, you can buy from Susato, as I just did, this set of whistles. You know, it says one. If you remember the video of me at the Ren Fair, and I was sliding all different of these white ABS plastic whistles into my belt, notice that there is a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I got. But there's only one mouthpiece, because this mouthpiece goes onto the others. So it's the same mouthpiece, but this way I can play, and this particular set is kind of odd. It has a B rather than a B flat, so it's 1/2 step higher, an E flat, a C, which is handy, a D flat, which is just 1/2 step down from the normal D, and a D, so it repeats one of the most common ones that I have. But they all have a look to them, that same color plastic. They all have a little rubber gasket there to help hold it in. And you simply plug in the tip, the fipple, from one to the other. And now we go on to the next part. This is going back to what I was just talking about, using your little finger. Now this is a B rather than a B flat. But notice it's just a little bit longer, a little bit more space between the keys, and my ring finger here is stretching a little bit and coming at an angle, and you really want your fingers to come in horizontally, and so then I would switch over to my little finger. And that's just all I have to do is just scale that, scale that, scale that. La scala, la scala, la scala. Take the steps. Pretty soon your hand will just start sending those impulses, those synaptial pathways to your little finger saying, hey, cover that note. And your ring finger will just go, I'm asleep for now. And you want to go back to a regular size. There's no, oh, I have to remember to use my ring finger now. It just becomes natural the more you do those type of scales. Thank you for following me on this journey, and we'll be back for more. We talked about playing longer penny whistles. What about shorter ones? Now this one is a D flat. Okay. So this is a D without the fipple, and this is an E flat without the fipple. So notice it's even shorter. So your fingers are going to be a little bit more crunched up on it. And I've got a G and an F, which are even tinier. And so I've given you an idea of how to cover notes that are further apart, rather than sliding your fingers like this. Just switch to your little fingers, which is, if you ever see me play my bass D whistle, you'll see me using 1, 2, little finger, 1, 2, little finger on that, because it's like this big. It's like this big. And but what do you do when you get constantly smaller and smaller? Now there you may have a physical problem, in that if you have really big fingers and just isn't room to squish them on there, then maybe there's a way to cover 2 holes at once. Maybe talk to somebody from Fluke. But that might be a problem. It may just limit you from not playing those really, really tiny space whistles, and that's just a physical thing. But if you've come up with ways of playing, a way of doing that with really big size fingers, then please let me know. So this is the really small one. So I'm just, again, running scales is really a good way to get your fingers used to that particular instrument. And I'm going to switch, while I'm performing to match the instrument of a partner, then I'm just going to take a second to go. And run it a few times so my body knows it's this size whistle, this is where my fingers have to be. And if you have to do that in a song, then you're just going to have to do that during warm-ups, so your body knows, okay, this section of the song, my fingers are tight. This section of the song, my fingers are broader. It should work out. If you have any other suggestions, I'm interested in including them in the next video. Thank you. This is a little bit about airs, A-I-R-E-S. And airs are wonderful because there's no real time signature. There's no like 4/4 beat. It's really just an impression. And they're really good, I think, for beginners or intermediates to play with, because it really lets you get in touch with your soul, with your musical muse, with your passion, and just how you're feeling. And it's really okay if you're not on the, and if you're not really on the beat, it doesn't matter, because there is no beat. It's just like snow falling. It's just whatever the pattern may be. And so you can just let your ear guide you to what you want to do. That's just made up. I was feeling, oh, that sounds like a good interval, and just playing with it. But you don't have to worry about rhythm. You don't have to worry about anybody playing with you, because normally they're done solo. Now, if you've got a really tight partner, they can kind of jam in with that and go with it, and that's a whole other thing. But really, airs are kind of fun to just go with and use it to practice with. Go over the breaks, take your time, and sense out where your ear is telling you, oh, this might be cool to go to next, and then hit that note from. And you can work in those slurs. Get you in your trills, and all that which can let that emotion flow. I hope you enjoy that exercise. I want to talk a little bit about dying notes. And all I'm doing is backing off the breath. If you do that on a drop note, that's how you get a dying note, where just the breath kind of slowly drops off. I thought I was the only one around here. I just realized that there's a conference going on in the room next door. I hope they enjoyed the concert. All right, this is where we are. Hotel Hilton Garden Inn North here in Milan. Lovely city. Gotta say, Venice won my heart. At least, no, there's no least. Venice is a unique thing. I've got some Dutch heritage in me. Van Volker comes from that. And it is oftentimes said that God made the world, but the Dutch made Holland. And it could be said that God made the world and the Venetians made Venice, because nothing exists there except what they pounded the stakes in and leveled it out and built streets and palaces, churches, duomos, and housings, and made use of the canals, etc. It is magic. But a city that really entered into my soul very quickly was Picciolo. Spelling to be up on the screen. And it is an ancient city, a medieval city, a Renaissance city, and a modern city, in very all at once. And I would advise and recommend and plead with you to please look it up on your browsers and see the type of art that they've got going on there. It is for an artist, for a person who deals with the muse or chases the muse or passionately works to please the muse. It is a city full of people agreeing to explore what beauty can be, and it's magnificent. It's absolutely wonderful, and I hope to return. So, thank you for joining me on a little bit of my Italian adventure, and it's been lovely. Thank you to Robert and Pim, Eleanor's son and daughter-in-law. It's been a magical about 2 weeks. And London wasn't bad either. I mean, the Globe Theatre and all. So it's all magnificent. And so, salut, arrivederci, ciao.